everyone. How are you doing? My name is Michael Giacchino. Okay, I guess we'll leave it at that. D23. Everyone having a great time? Awesome. I love D23. It was 2 years ago, I guess. Was 2 years ago? We were here. We introduced Werewolf by Night to the world, which was really fun. So today's going to be a fun time here. Wow, that's big. Okay, here we go. So let's, what are we doing here? Music of? Marvel. Okay, and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff. So let's first bring out the composer of Frozen, all right, so which, amazing, and 3 Ant-Man films, Christophe Beck. Chris, come on out. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you. There's your microphone. We have the composer of Miss Marvel, The Marvels, and Marvel Animation's What If, Laura Karpman. Come on out, Laura. We have the incredible songwriting duo behind so many of your favorite songs, including one of my favorite non-Marvel songs, Remember Me from Coco, which come on, that's such a great song. I love it. But your soon-to-be favorite, Agatha All Along. Here we go. Come on. Bobby and Kristen Lopez. Now, we have music supervisor for Marvel Studios and founder and CEO of Format Entertainment with credits on Dude, Where's My Car, American Pie 2, Gulliver's Travels, The Nutty Professor 2, Dave Jordan. Come on out. What? I went to your IMDb page. That's what it said. All right, head of music supervision at Format Entertainment with credits on Hawkeye and What If. Please welcome Justine von Winterfeldt. Hi. All right. So, what do you guys want to know? Dave, we're going to start with you. Justine.
Okay.
All right, music supervision. What is it? Explain this to me. What is that, and why is it important?
Music supervision, in the simplest kind of boiled down version, is you work for the filmmakers, the director, and the producers and the writers and in the studio, but you help with the director's vision. Sometimes they have a very strong vision. Sometimes they're open to ideas and want to explore. And so big part of what we do, is help kind of cultivate the sound for the project. And from a technical side, we are involved in all aspects, whether it's music licensing, putting the soundtracks together, working on camera with singers. So basically anything that music touches in the film or TV show, we're involved in.
And do you try and pair up personalities as well in terms of who might be good partners working, or when are you in the hunt for the composers as well when you're looking for someone for a film, not just the songs that you're looking to license, but the film music as well?
Absolutely. The composer, a lot of directors, they know kind of the sound they want, but they might only be familiar with a couple composers' work. And so that's a wonderful part of the job, is to kind of explore sounds they're maybe not familiar with, or they might be using a reference for a different film, maybe a film from the 60s or from the 70s, and they want to do something contemporary. So we get to explore with them different ideas, different composers, and sometimes introduce brand new people that have never had an opportunity to work on a large-scale project such as a Marvel, or maybe they're a drama composer and they really want to do a comedy. And so that's an exciting part of the process.
All right, now we're going to do a little get to know you thing. When I do these panels, I like to kind of ask a couple of questions just so I can, and the audience can get to know you better. So we'll start with Justine on this one. 2 movies. Give me 2 movies that you love that describe who you are as a person.
Okay, my first movie that I can think of is Moulin Rouge, Baz Luhrmann. I love the musical mashups in that and love stories, and music is my thing. So that would be my first one. And then what got me into music supervision in the first place was a little movie called Now and Then. I don't know if anyone's seen that one. But that soundtrack was so great. Jackson 5, Stevie Wonder, all the great hits. And so that's what kind of makes me as a person, I would say.
Great. Dave, what was the first needle drop that you actually noticed in a movie that made an impact on you?
Well, I grew up in the 80s, so I explored the cinema of the 80s.
You look good.
For me, it was John. What's that?
I said you look good.
Thank you.
Growing
Thank
up
you.
in the 80s, yeah.
For me, it was so much of it was the John Hughes movies and the way he used music. The Breakfast Club and that was just part of my life. The one I really remember it sticking out is a little older, and it's actually a little before my time, but it was Harold and Maude.
Ah, yes.
And it was the way the music was used, where you had kind of Cat Stevens' bright, happy sound juxtaposed against what was going on screen. And it was the first time, because I hadn't seen The Graduate yet, it was the first time I had seen one artist do all the songs. Mm-hmm. And so that was something I wanted to do in my career, and it really shaped. And
do you have a movie? A movie that describes who you are?
Yeah, I mean, the Marvel universe is so much of who I am, and when I got the opportunity, there's two of them for me that are there's a lot of touchstones, but Iron Man was a massive moment for me because I read the comic books, and so, I'm from Orange County, so hi to all my Orange County peoples. And so when the small town kid from Orange County got to work on the superhero movie, and it was life changing. So that was a big moment for me. The other one that was really big for me was Black Panther, and just being able to be involved in culture. All the Marvel stuff's involved in culture on some level, but that was a cultural moment around the world.
Yeah.
And so that was really exciting. And we put so much love into it, the director Ryan Coogler and our music editors and obviously Kendrick Lamar, that the way it was received was just mind-blowingly fantastic.
So much. I remember being at the premiere for that and feeling like, wow, the world just changed right here tonight.
Yeah.
It was like incredible. It was a really fun evening, so I agree. Chris, how you doing? You and I are the only ones that scored a trilogy at Marvel. Is that true?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so Spider-Man and
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, come on. How great is that?
One insect, one arachnid.
I love that movie. I remember the first time I saw Ant-Man, I loved the score, I loved the music you wrote for it, and it was just such a fun movie. So
thanks.
Yeah, congrats on that. So 2 movies that describe who you are as a person.
The first one that comes to mind is just the first movie that really captured my imagination as a kid, which is Star Wars. I think I was 8 years old when it came out, and at the time there was no home video situation, so what I did was bought the LP of a narration of the movie with John Williams' score, and I wore that record out, and it just...
Same.
Yeah. It just fueled my, like I would go to bed at night like just dreaming of piloting X-Wing fighters. So it's incredible that like that fantasy world, being able to engage in that, but through music today, that I get to do that today. And I'm going to mention one other movie. I'm Canadian, and thank you. Canadians of a certain age might know Bob and Doug McKenzie. Probably most of you don't, but they made a movie when I was in middle school that stayed with me to this day, and that really resonates with the Canadian that still lives very strong in me right now today. Yeah.
Wait, was it Bob and Doug? That movie?
I think it was called Strange Brew.
Strange Brew,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, now, Strange Brew, that was big when cable first came out. I remember, because I saw it 100 times on, like, whatever, HBO, or I was from Philadelphia area, so it was Prism was the big cable company. Anyone? Prism? Yeah?
Woo!
Right. It's
I love
awesome.
that we're cheering cable companies now.
We're all owned by cable companies now. What was the first movie score that actually had an impact on you? I guess it was. You're going to say Star Wars, right?
I'm going to say Star Wars. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, but if you couldn't say Star Wars, what would you say?
I would say Star Wars as a kid, before I had any inkling that I might actually be doing that for a living. After college, when I moved to LA and started studying film music at USC, I became familiar with Jerry Goldsmith's scores.
Yes.
And he had a movie that came out in the early 90s called Basic Instinct that, I could still sit down at the piano and play it note for note to this day. I love that score, and his sense of economy, like he can do so much with so little musically, is a value that I try to bring to my own work as well.
Yeah, he was incredible. I mean, for me, Poltergeist. Well, I remember the first time I saw Poltergeist, I was like blown away, and that music I just listened to endlessly on loop. It's some of my favorite stuff in the world. So, you're all over the MCU in terms of your music, your sound between Hawkeye and the Ant-Man movies, and talk a little bit about one of your favorite moments or a favorite scene that you scored, or just something that happened while you were working on a Marvel film that's memorable. It's just some kind of antidote. Antidote? Give me the antidote. Just tell us something that we don't know, something that the average person would not know, or even I wouldn't know about your time working with Marvel.
Yeah, actually, speaking of antidotes, I'm going to talk about Ant-Man here. When I was first hired to do the first Ant-Man movie, it was my first time working on a Marvel film, and the director, Peyton Reed, it was his first Marvel film as well. And we were a little bumfuzzled as to how we were going to actually approach the
Bumfuzzled.
Yeah,
Bumfuzzled.
I just learned that word.
Hold on, I got to explain. We have a little contest that goes on when we do these modern. So we come up with a name, a word, a strange word, and whoever's the first to use it correctly in a sentence, they win. So, ladies and gentlemen, Christophe Beck.
But Michael, don't you think you have a little logorrhea in this?
What's that?
Don't you have a little logorrhea in this?
Okay, that's the second word. Laura Karpman, second place. Actually, I think that one was worth 5 points. This one was only worth 1.
That's the second time I've
correct.
come in second place this year, but let's not talk about it.
Anyway.
Wait till you guys hear words 3 through 29. Peyton and I got really excited. I personally have a soft spot for electronic music. The weirder, the better. And Peyton does too. And we got really excited about making some really weird electronic music for Ant-Man. It was kind of cool and skittery, but it was also strange. And I remember playing it for some of the producers and Kevin, and realizing that we had gone a little too far. I mean, the music made it sound like your speakers were broken, and that was not necessarily the intent. So then we kind of did a reset at that point, and we're like, okay, we went a little too far, getting excited in our own little heads, but what does this character really need? And what that led to the Ant-Man theme, which is one of the things I'm most proud of in my career. And being able to have that experience of going down this road, seeing that it maybe wasn't right for the film and the character, and then making that turn, and then landing on something that felt as right as the other one felt wrong, was an incredible experience.
That's amazing. I want to hear that original version. Do you still have it?
I do.
All right, I do want to hear that one.
But does it break your speakers if you play?
Yeah.
It just sounds like it.
It sounds like ants are crawling all over you.
Do you remember this?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And were you
I
like,
was
what
in the
did we
original
do?
me. I loved it. I was like, let's
you
go.
did? I thought
Yeah.
you weren't like, we got to get a new guy in here. This is
No,
like,
no.
this is. I think we have something from Ant-Man to watch. Why don't we do that?
Dad. Come back. Dad. If you can hear me, come back. Just come back. Don't give up. Dad, just come back one more time.
Hear that guy?
Please.
Yes.
Come back.
Come on, let's do it together. Get him up. Get him up. Grab him. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, lift him. Yes. I got you. That's it. Come on, boost. Give him that boost. Come on. Come on, go. Do this. Everyone, do it.
What are you doing? How are you able to do that?
I'll tell you how. We all want the same thing. Work together. And I'm coming, Cassie. Come on, we're doing it for Cassie. Let's do it. Go get her, pal. Everyone, let's go! Come on!
I'm real.
Then let's do this.
You ready?
Ready.
The subwoofers are under this stage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we all just got an amazing foot massage.
No spoilers in that clip. Okay. So I know Marvel is very secretive about things that they're doing and all of that, but these people, they'll be very quiet about whatever it is you say up here. They don't use social media. They're not on it. So you can feel free to talk about anything you want. So what are you working on now? Anything fun that you can mention?
Well, I'm working on a personal project right now that I just started with my wife. And I also have a Marvel TV miniseries coming out pretty soon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Which is?
Which is Agatha All Along.
All righty. But remember, zip. Excellent. That comes out when?
September 18th, I believe.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Christophe Beck. Amazing. Incredible. Laura Karpman, how are you?
I'm feeling quite well, thank you. Except we just heard the Ant-Man theme in 4. Da, da, or was it 3? Da, da. Was it 3 or 4?
Whatever it was, I apologize.
No, because the 7/8 is, but yes, no, it's all good. It's all good.
So
I love that theme.
Let's start. Come on, give me 2 movies that can tell us who you are.
So I thought a lot about this, and I wanted to be sure not to be too esoteric. Or to have logorrhea, but I already blew that one.
You can't do it twice.
It seemed bumfuzzled in any way, which of course I'm not. But I'm going to say a TV show.
Okay.
Star Trek, the first one.
Yes.
And the first one, I think, because first of all, it was so unbelievably forward-looking. I mean, so many of those things have come to pass. It was diverse. There was really, I think for me as a kid, to see that equality among men and women was crazy. And black people and white people, everybody. Gay, straight, it didn't matter. You were just out there to save the world. And I loved it. And the music was unbelievably great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that I think is really, was a hugely influential. I mean, I love science fiction, I always have.
That's actually a great one. I mean, the Star Trek for me is a big one too. The music really blew me away as a kid.
Yeah.
And if you're at all interested in learning about the music of the Star Trek, the original series, there's a podcast called The Soundtrack Show by Dave Collins. Check it out. He does an incredible run on the Star Trek music, so
Yeah,
you'd
and I mean,
love it.
really smart music composition
Yes.
actually in that show.
Yeah, no, really solid composers that could do anything.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
So that's one.
Well, I mean, about who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, that gets complicated. I shouldn't say it in this room, but I think I will. I think Wonder Woman was a big thing, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because we didn't know how much we needed that movie. And to see those first scenes, and this is before Captain Marvel came out, and then, of course, the Marvels, to see women doing that was like literally crazy. And I remember we saw it at a screening at the Academy, and all of us were sitting there literally with our jaws dropped, because it's like Black Panther. You haven't seen images like that on screen. And so that was, I think, really important. And I think one of the things that launched my undeniable thirst to work in this world.
No, that's great. And we all want all superhero movies to do great. Like when we all do well, that means the whole business is doing well. So that's
good. I'm sure Kevin agrees with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry,
I
Kevin. Sorry about
guarantee
it.
he agrees
Saying
with
it's a
you.
DC thing, I really apologize. But, you know, what do you want?
So you founded the Alliance for Women Composers, right? Women film composers, and you were also the first female governor on the music branch at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
You and I made some good trouble there, I think.
Yeah, Laura and I were both governors at the time together, and we caused a lot of problems.
We made a lot of trouble for the Motion Picture Academy.
Good trouble, as they say. Good trouble.
Good trouble.
Right? Yeah. Anything you want to say about that, your work doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, really, you were my partner very much in all of that. I mean, we did a lot of stuff. We really diversified the branch. I started the Women's Initiative. We got rid of some bad people who were, who shall remain nameless.
They aren't bad. They just made bad choices.
They made bad choices, like people like Harvey Weinstein and stuff. He made a bad choice. But we got rid of him. We got rid of him. And then we let in a lot of people who were really, really spectacular. And so I had a good time doing it, and both you and I are glad that we're happily retired from that position.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Let others do it.
Yeah,
it's time for someone else. Yeah. No, it had its fun times too. I mean,
it had its fun time, and like amazing people. And the thing that was cool about it is that when you think about social change, how do you do it? When you've got an organization like the Academy, you can do stuff because you've got this incredible power thing backing you up. So little things like the short list, which seems like a small thing, but when people wind up on the short list, then immediately people start to notice them. So if you have a short list of 15, then you've got 15 films that are elevated, and you are going to see more diversity in that than you would in the past. And I think that all of us on this panel have been involved with this. Chris started Real Change at CSAC, which is an amazing, amazing program. Michael was my partner. You are you. You have hired me and others. I'm pointing to Dave Jordan over there. So I think that it's a group effort, and I think it's really been a beautiful part of this Marvel family too. It's a part of, I think, philosophy at Marvel.
Well, speaking of Marvel,
yes.
Do you have a favorite anecdote about your time working with Marvel, or a favorite scene you scored, or some musical, story you can spin for us that tells us about the behind the scenes?
Yes, I do, and we are doing Ms. Marvel, right? I think we're showing a scene from Ms. Marvel. So I do have a similar story to yours, in fact, where I wrote a theme, and Kevin said something I think really, really beautiful, which is great theme, not for this project. But I mean, that's actually really like a super supportive way to say no, but
failure.
So Sana Amanat, who was the showrunner and actually the creator of the comic book, so she came to my house the next day and she said, I want something that goes like this. And I said, you mean da-da-da, da-da-da? And she said, oh, that's it. So that became the theme. So that's my anecdote and antidote about, I say with Logorrhea, and a little bumfuzzled in the process, but regardless. But no, Ms. Marvel was an incredible project to work on because, of course, it's the first time, maybe not the first, but actual history is involved in the MCU. And what you see is the partition, a very painful story, sorry for barking into the mic, a painful story, which is the separation of India and Pakistan and the incredible turmoil that happened in that moment.
So let's watch the clip.
Do you want to play a game? I'm gonna need you to jump, okay? Ready? And go!
It was me.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing. That must have been a very emotional experience working on that.
Yeah, it really was. And as you hear, there are a lot of really amazing South Asian musicians who were very much my partners in this score.
It's, you know, I think of something a lot of people don't know is as composers, when you're working on a film like this, the thing, I know this is true for me, I'm assuming it's true for you as well, but you want to put yourself, the best work, in order to do your best work, you want to put yourself in the shoes of the characters you're writing for, which means you have to really, really empathize with the characters on screen, and you have to understand what they're going through, which then can make you feel like at times you're going through this thing too, because you're living in this emotional space in order to write the music that you need to do that tells the right story.
It's totally true. I mean, I think film scoring is empathy.
Yes.
And it's really articulating empathy in musical terms. I mean, that is what we do. And you're right, it can take you to the places that these characters go, and in fact, must take you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't work unless you go there, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are times I come in at night and my wife will be like, "Are you mad at me for something?" And I'm like, No, I'm just doing this, working on this thing and living in that world.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel the same?
Yeah, totally, all the time. Although I've been more recently trying to treat it less like a puzzle to solve and more like what you guys are talking about, which is like really letting myself feel it.
Right. Yeah. Bobby? Kristen?
Oh, it's really tricky for us.
Yeah?
That is because if we spend all day long working on something really emotional, it's very hard to change hats and be like, well, what are we making for dinner? Who's helping the kids with the calculus homework? So we have found that it's important to have like little rituals that help us just say like, okay, we're not work partners anymore. Now we are parenting, co-parents, and then like romantic time. Yeah, so yeah, we have to. D23 is helpful for that. But.
Oh yeah, big romance here.
That's great. Did you? Were you going to say something?
I think she said it all.
I think she did too. I think she did too.
I do suffer from logorrhea. I feel
Oh, well done.
So, Laura, you, as I said, very trustworthy crowd here.
Yeah,
They will
yeah.
not tell anyone what
Yeah.
you can share. So, do you have any fun stuff you can share with us? Any secrets you can tell? Remember, they're not going to say anything.
No,
about it.
I know. You know, it's so funny because I can't remember the name of this movie, but there was this super soldier guy.
Oh.
And now he's retired and he's passed it on to this other guy.
Yeah.
Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh.
I'm really,
Laura Karpman,
really,
scoring Captain
really-
America: Brave New World.
yeah,
That's
really,
awesome.
really proud to be working on this one and very excited. And you guys are going to love it. It's an absolutely fantastic film.
I can't.
And this is what happens. No,
Yes, I told you they're quiet. They won't say anything. Tell them the whole thing.
Dave's going to come over, steal the mic away. Yeah.
Yes, all these guys come out. Well, congratulations on that.
you
That's
very much,
fantastic.
Michael.
Laura
Thank
Karpman, amazing work, amazing work. All right. Kristen and Bobby. So, right? Come on. Give it up. I mean, the list is too ridiculously incredible to even go through the work that you have all done. But, and for me, as I said earlier, Remember Me is just like, you know, top of the mountain. I love that. I love that song so much. It was incredible to be able to work on that film with you guys. So, let's see, Let It Go, Remember Me, and of course the WandaVision songs, which are all incredible. We love that. So, what is the difference between, say, the composer and the lyricists, or how do you split up duties? What is a songwriter? What is a film composer? Is there overlap? Explain your world to us.
Well, everybody probably knows that film composers, the film score, these three come in towards the end of the process when the film is mostly shot and edited, and they do their work of interpretation there. When we're doing a musical where the characters break into song, we have to kind of be on it from the beginning or close to the beginning because we're kind of making dialogue as well through the lyrics and we have to make sure the characters can sing, you know, that they're the type of characters that sing. It's a whole story process that takes years. And
I like to say that we have to think like architects when we're building a musical, because musicals have a very specific architecture that each song is going to be tapping into the theme in some way, and those are kind of the pillars holding up the building, and you need to be anticipating the motifs as the story is being built. And so musicals are very iterative, and we have to be there, you know, saying like, oh, that pillar doesn't work, let's build this pillar up. The wonderful thing about sometimes working on a TV show like WandaVision or Agatha All Along is that somebody else has done all that architecture work, and then we get to come in like the decorators of the lobby, let's say, and just say like, okay, we just have to set that tone, and I see a couch here and this kind of pillow, and it's a much more fun and joyful assignment.
And we get to meld our work with the film composer a lot more in TV and live action, which is what we love to work with Chris and you.
And yes,
and one day Laura, I hope, soon.
Laura's the only one on this stage we haven't worked with professionally.
I guess we have to do something about that.
Yeah, Dave.
You need a song
you
for
get
Brave
on
New
that?
World? Let's do it.
Brave New World.
It's a great song title.
Brave New World.
It writes itself. So what is explain to me what's your day like? You get up in the morning, do you guys work together in the same room? Do you separate, bring things together? What's it like? What?
We do a lot of, we have to get the kids out. Now one is in college and the other one is kind of on autopilot, but
She's not on autopilot. She just doesn't want us there saying, don't wear that outfit.
so we tend to, we do a lot of talking. That's the main thing. We just talk about the story. We talk about the characters. We talk about other songs that are in the same family as the song we're about to write, and how we can be different and how we can be fresh, and we have to live it. And what we're always looking for our response to the story and our identity with the characters. So it's like we get to write a song that we would sing, but it's really this character.
What you said about empathy, really resonated for me. That in every story we do and in every character that we write for, even the villain, we are. I mean, I would say a lot of our work is kind of like playing pretend, like what you did when you were a 7-year-old. And I'm so lucky that I'm married to someone who's like also
Who's emotionally 7.
A big kid. And he can play the piano. So it's like you got a guy who can play the piano at your play date when you're like, okay, she's alone, she's on a mountain, her whole life has collapsed.
And Kristen's whole childhood was telling all the boys in her like backyard like where to stand and what to do.
What to do, yeah, it was. But it's basically pretending, and we put ourselves in the character. Sometimes we're even improvising and playing the characters. And then there's a moment often that I'll just go, okay, I know what it is. Don't talk to me. Don't knock on my door. And I run into my office, and sometimes it involves like, I have this book open, I have this thing, I am just channeling, I'm looking up at the sky, I'm acting it out alone. And
yeah, I'll look over at her sometimes and she'll be like, and I'll be like, oh, she's happy. I'm like, no, I'm just working.
and when I'm done doing that puzzle, often I'll do a piece of the puzzle and I'll go to the greatest, smartest person I know and say, is this resonating for you? Do you see it? And he'll be like, let me live with it. I'm going to take it for 2 hours. I go out for a walk and try and get some steps in or something.
Nails.
Nails.
Well done, by the way, and the toes, I've noticed, too.
Well,
yeah, they're
purple.
Really good. Yeah.
I see a lot of purple out there right now. Purple is important today.
Is it ever like a lyrics first, then music, or is it back and forth?
It's like the cliche, like every song is different.
Really?
Sometimes it's me coming up with some musical bit, and then Kristen is inspired by that, and sometimes she writes an entire song in lyrics, and I'll set that. But it's kind of each song finds its own way, and it used to be that we always started with a fight of like who's going to really, control the song.
That was old school. That was when if anyone has seen the play Stereophonic, we sat through it and we were like, oh, we worked through that in the aughts.
Stereophonic is a play about a band trying to make a record. So it's if you haven't seen it or heard of it, that's what that is.
Yes, but it's like about sometimes gender roles, sometimes artistic control.
Yeah.
And we used to have to actually have a fight to neutralize all that. Mm-hmm. And now we try to skip the part where it's a fight and just go into like, okay, we know we're going to fight over control. Let's skip that part and just start with like, what are the themes? What are the characters?
Yeah. So Justine, when you're dealing with a show that has songs that come on early like this, what are some of the things that you have to then deal with in terms of dealing with the music?
I'm sorry, did you ask me or Justine?
It's a question for both of us.
It could be for both of you.
I mean, I think what's important is, discussing with the director, showrunner, what the tone is, what we're looking for, finding inspiration, and then matching, for Agatha, who is going to be the songwriter for it, and then really like seeing where it goes throughout the series. And so from there, I think it starts as a melody line and then kind of expands, and then we go into like interpolations within the score, and then it really just gets threaded within all of it. Yeah.
And so much of what we do, one of the challenges for what we do is, especially when you're working with big hit-making artists, they know how to write hit-making songs for the radio. Mm-hmm. And that's not always the same. It's often not the same as what you need for a film. The emotional story, the story you're trying to tell in the song, right? They want to talk about being in the club and, this and that. So, so you hope that when you're working with an artist that you have a number of conversations and kind of get them comfortable with the fact that they're going to be writing for film and that it needs to serve film first and everything else second. So,
all right, 2 movies.
You go first.
Oh, well, I was going to say Star Wars, but Chris took that. So instead, I will say Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
Funniest movies I've ever seen. It was so important to my childhood. I remember they put it on HBO Christmas Eve in 1985 as a surprise. And I got to watch that with my dad. It was like the very best moment of my childhood. And I love that score so much.
Yeah, Elmer Bernstein.
Elmer Bernstein.
Elmer Bernstein.
And the other one, I don't know if anyone has ever seen Topsy Turvy. It's a Mike Leigh film from 1999. It's about the making of The Mikado with Gilbert and Sullivan. It's such a great film, and it shows, I don't know if it's true, but it seems to show that making a musical was exactly the same in 1886 as it is now.
Hard?
Hard, just full of pain and full of delight at the same time.
When you're working, talking about musicals, that can take 10, 15 years to get a musical off the ground, right?
That's why we love writing for Marvel so much, because the geniuses at Marvel figure out what role music is playing, and they tell us it seems like an impossible assignment. They're like, it needs to do this, and this. Jack Schaefer, who created Agatha all along, gave us this. It seemed daunting to her, but we were like, we are so grateful for the clarity and for the just understanding what the thing is. And it's a puzzle, but it's an emotional puzzle, the way she and Kevin think. So it was actually quite, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was easier.
They think like musical creators. And so you're stepping into a place where the architecture's there and it serves the music. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I find that Marvel is a place where music is respected, and that's not the case everywhere we work, for sure. Yes, applaud
that is actually...
yes.
Yes.
It's a great thing.
Fun fact, Kevin's parents sort of support the Carnegie Hall, right? They came to we had a Carnegie Hall concert, and Kevin Feige's parents were like, there. So and so proud, and they were like, he's very musical. Like, we know.
Well, I know he's a film score fan. He loves film scores, as we all did growing up.
Talking about you like you're not here.
I know.
He's here somewhere.
2 movies.
You and I share one, I think. My Muppets.
Oh, well,
Muppets.
The Muppet movie.
The Muppet movie.
Yes, the Muppet movie.
Like a bunch of weirdos who love creating musical theater.
Yes.
Getting together and then creating musical theater. It's so perfect. And then I realized my other one is a Paul Williams as well. And this is esoteric and it is a bumfuzzle. Bugsy Malone.
Yes, Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone.
Raise your hand if you have seen Bugsy Malone. All right, the rest of you need to watch that.
It's
insane.
Crazy. It's insane.
Yes.
And yet it lives rent-free in every cell of my body. And I don't know that it's okay because it was like weird 70s kids acting like gangsters, shooting each other with
it's very
whipped
strange.
cream. But the songs, and I will say this for Muppets too, there's a subversive joy to both treatments. There's a subversive joy to the characters and what they sing, and they all enjoy music, and they're all kind of together, and then there's this wonderful sense of unity and community at the end that I think just is one of the roles that musical theater plays in the world.
Yeah.
Paul Williams also did my other favorite thing, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yes, another
Emmett
one.
Otter's, I
Emmett
love that
Otter's
as well.
Jug Band Christmas.
It's an incredible. Actually, Frank Oz is going to be made a Disney legend this weekend. So, right on. Give it up for Frank.
We had this wonderful chance to write these musical TV theme songs, and it happened to fall during the pandemic. And so it went through the decades, if you're familiar with it. And by the time we got to writing the 80s, which was like the era we watched so many theme songs, and we love that music, we were also living in complete isolation and making it up as we went along. And every day was like, now how are we doing this? And so we channeled all of that into the 80s version.
We are also part of the Agatha All Along show. They named that show after that song. That's coming in September, so that's...
And when they announced the spinoff, we were really hoping we would get to do the song for it. And we texted Jack. We were like, if there's a song, can we do it?
Excellent. Well, Bobby and Kristen Lopez, thank you. Excellent, excellent work. Looking forward to that. I guess that leaves me. So, Michael, 2 movies that tell us who you are. That would be 1933's King Kong. All right. I got obsessed with stop motion animation and the film score too as well by Max Steiner. Max Steiner, if you don't know it, Max Steiner was the guy who decided this is how we score movies. We write themes for characters. We do it the way they did it in the opera, all these, for 100 years. And he set the template with 1933's King Kong. We've been doing it the same ever since. So King Kong for sure for me. And Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, right? Who did not want to be Indiana Jones? I still want to be that guy, but it's not going to work out. But that music, too, was also an incredible lesson in storytelling. If you can you listen to that score separate from the film, it is almost like you're still watching the movie. It's incredible. I love that so much.
Michael,
well,
do you have your anecdote?
My antidote for working on
from a Marvel project?
I remember the first time playing the Marvel, the flip, the logo. We were in a tiny little office, I remember, an editorial office, and I brought it in, just a demo of it. And Kevin was there, and Lou was there, and we were all just huddled into this thing. You were there, and do you remember this? You're like, no, I don't remember this. And I remember playing it for the first time and just seeing the smiles on everyone's faces, and it felt like, yeah, this is really fun. And what I really wanted out of that logo more than anything else was to say, you are in for a good time. You're sitting down, you're in for a good time here, and that's a favorite memory of mine, actually, just that moment. You all think it's very glamorous and all that. No, we were in this tiny little office where we were all huddled in there, and there's 100 screens and stuff. So it was not very ceremonious, but it was fun and memorable. So I just want to thank all of our panelists here. Really, thank you for all your incredible work. Thank you for always inspiring me with the work that you do. I just always want to be better whenever I hear one thing that you guys do. I'm like, damn it, now I need to be better than that. So thank you for that. I love that. And Dave and Justine, thank you for all the work you do, keeping us straight and getting to do the things that we get to do. So thank you.
Very welcome.
Guys, what's that?
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Anyway, thank you all for coming. We had a great day. Have a great
you,
D23.
Michael.
And get out there and watch some Marvel movies.